Alright, welcome back to my second Steamisode. Today we're playing the 39 Steps, a digital adaptation of John Buchan's espionage thriller. Another one that I haven't heard of. I haven't heard of this game or the book, but everything looks really cool so far, so... Original text? What are all these options? Let's check. No dialect. No subtitles. Oh, different language. Alright, let's give this a try. Rotate your mouse clockwise to advance the text. Anti-clockwise makes you go back. Alright. When you reach the end of a string of text, you will see a diamond. Simply left-click anywhere to advance the scene, moving the story forward. The 39 Steps is largely a pointer-free experience. But when you see one, that's your cue to interact. Alright, let's check out this apartment. Some locations can be explored. When in explore mode, you can click and drag the mouse to look around. You can also interact with glowing objects. Alright, so as we can see so far, this note is glowing. Benning's Bank. Dear Mr. Haney, welcome to England. I hope your journey from Rhodesia was not too arduous. Would you like to come into the bank and we can discuss matters regarding your Rhodesian mining shares? If you could, please make an appointment with my clerk, Mr. Scoop, on Temple 6733. Yours sincerely, Mr. Edward Ainsley, Manager. Alright, what is... Oh, we can zoom in and out. Alright, so let's go back. I just want to apologize now for not being the best reader in the world. Well, presenter, reading aloud, etc., etc. I stutter sometimes, but forgive me. Alright, don't see anything else here to interact with. Achievement. Oh yeah. There are 15 more awards to collect. Right-click or hit spacebar to return to the main menu screen during play. This also acts as a pause. Okay. New event, The Wrong Ditch. Oh, so it looks like it's a pretty decent length story. The Wrong Ditch. Monday, 18th May, 1914, London, England. The art is really cool. It gives me a very visual novel feel, like a Japanese visual novel. I returned from the city on that May afternoon, pretty well disgusted with life. I had been 3 months in the old country and was fed up with it.
Richard Hannay, you have got into the wrong ditch, my friend, and you had better climb out.
Lucky for you, I don't have to narrate anymore. Let's go with working man. I had earned my pile, not one of the big ones, but good enough for me. I put in 3 years prospecting for copper in German Damaraland, and spoke the German tongue pretty fluently. I went on to become a mining engineer in Kimberley, where I was instrumental to the formation of De Beers consolidation mines. The diamond mines were a rough business, with countless good men lost in horrific accidents. Okay, so this is a little backstory. Maybe we should go in order. My father had brought me out from Scotland to South Africa at the age of 6, and I had never been home since. I grew up in the Cape Colony, which was then under British rule. I spent much of my time by the Zambezi, where I would fish. There are several hundred species in its waters, including the infamous tigerfish and Zambezi shark. The wide open spaces of the veld also interested me greatly, and the various methods of survival in such an uncompromising landscape. This one we saw. I served the British forces during the Matabele conflict and was decorated for my role. I served 2 years with the Imperial the horse and was an intelligent officer at Belago Bay in the Second Boer Wars. I lost many friends during those wars. The Carer. My final years in Africa were in the municipality of Bulawayo. I'm sorry, I'm not the greatest with all these African and England countries, where I had fought during the Metabele War. I resided once again with my father, who had taken ill. After he died, I decided to leave the Cape and head back to the old country. And now... A lot of imperialist ladies asked me to tea to meet some schoolmasters from New Zealand, and editors from Vancouver, and that was the most dismal business of all. I had no real pal to go about with, which probably explains things. Plenty of people invited me to their houses, but they didn't seem much interested in me. I'd counted on stopping in London for the rest of my days, but from the first I was disappointed with it. I was the best bored man in England. Here was I, 37 years old, sound in wind and limb, with enough money to have a good time yawning my head off all day. I had a long drink and read the evening's papers. There we go. From all accounts, he seemed the one big man in the show, and he played a straight game too, which is more than he could be said for most of them. Someone had loaded the cylinder player. I felt a deep nostalgia for my homeland of Scotland, as Annie Laurer filled the room. We get to look around now. Nothing's really glowing. Oh, what's this? Pouch? Presented to Richard Hannay, intelligence officer, Metabele War, 1897, soldier of the British Empire. Oh, I can read this whole thing if I wanted to, but I'm honestly not going to. I could care less what this paper has to say. So that's that whole table over there. What about this paper over here? Yeah, more paper. What year are we in? 1914? Here's the map of the world. Book. That I already clicked, but it looks like a chair. No, it's the same. It all counts as the same thing. Chess? Can we play chess? No? What's this? That's just the rug. Play cards? It looks like I have to do something with this. Oh yeah, so the chair's glowing, the map's glowing. Both those things I already interacted with. Oh, done. Dup. About 6 o'clock I went home. This is us walking. Or driving. New Cavendish Street. My flat was the first floor in a new block behind Longam Park, our place. So, obviously we live here. There was no restaurant or anything of that sort. And each flat was quite shut off from the others. See if we got any mail. Where are we? Here we are. Dear Richard, how is London? I do hope padlock blah 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 blah. If you'd like to read this, you can just go ahead and pause the video. I don't feel like reading this whole little letter here. Save some time, try to explore a little bit more. Peter Pianer. Whatever that is. Go up the stairs. Guess we must live right here. Draw symbols as they appear. Okay. So just go up. Put the hold in and do it. Oh, okay. I see. There we go. Alright, so we're in my flat. That's us, we're a ghost.
Paddock? That's me home. I'll be heading out for dinner.
I like how you can turn off the accent in case you don't want to listen to an English guy in your ear all day. I hate servants on the premises, so I had a fellow to look after me who came in by the day. He arrived before 8 o'clock every morning and used to depart at 7, for I never dined at home. Oh, we sound pretty tired. Let's get a little shut-eye. We're gonna head back the way we came. That evening I dined at the Cafe Royale, and then headed elsewhere for entertainment. I really enjoy the art, it's very pretty. Alhambra. An evening's entertainment. Leicester Square. On this particular evening I wandered to Leicester Square, where the more resplendent theatre of varieties could be found. A show at the Alhambra caught my eye, though one could never be quite sure of the act until it had been seen. Music halls. The countless music halls of London were one way of passing the evening away. Farces of all styles played a conspicuous part in this week's bill. Did they say this if this was based on the true story? I wasn't paying attention. It was a silly show, though. I didn't even like it. I didn't stay long. On the way home, I gave half a crown to a beggar because I saw him yawn. He was a fellow sufferer. I made a vow I would give the old country another day to fit me into something. Oh, that horn kind of scared me. We're stargazing. If nothing happened, I would take the next boat for the Cape. Achievement unlocked. The wrong ditch. So that's the first chapter. Let's do another one quick. An unlikely visit. Monday, 18th May, 1914. Wimpole Street, London. Alright, looks like we're back home.
Hey, can I speak to you? May I come in for a minute?
Oh, creepy. Breathing heavily, right in my ear. I recognized him as the occupant on a flat on the top floor, with whom I passed the time of day on the stairs. He was slim, with a short brown beard and small, gimlety blue eyes. Gimli? I don't know that word, sorry. His hand was pawing at my arm. I motioned him in, just letting strangers in. You got to draw on the screen now to open this door. No sooner was he over the threshold than he made a dash for my back room, where I used to smoke and write my letters. Then he bolted back. What a sketchy
Is the
bloke.
door locked?
He filled himself with a stiff whiskey and soda and drank it off in 3 gulps. I sat down in an armchair and lit my pipe. I was pretty certain that I had to deal with a madman.
I'm very sorry. It's a mighty liberty, but you look like the kind of man who would understand. I've had you in my mind all this week when things got troublesome. Say, will you do me a good turn?
I'll listen to you. That's all I'll promise.
Pardon. I'm a bit rattled tonight. You see, I happen at this moment to be dead.
What does it feel like?
A smile flickered over in his drawn face.
I'm not mad. Yet. Say, sir, I've been watching you, and I reckon you're a cool customer. I reckon, too, you're an honest man and not afraid of playing a bold hand. I'm gonna confide in you. I need help worse than any man ever needed it. I want to know if I can count you in.
See, I told you we're all ghosts, especially that guy. Taking my sweet time responding.
Get on with your yarn and I'll tell you.
He's gonna tell us his yarn in the form of an old movie. Sit back, relaxed, the queerest rigmarole. Let's enjoy. Franklin P. Scudder was an American from Kentucky. After college, being pretty well off, he started out to see the world. Sailing over to Portugal and Spain. Takes the train through France, Germany, into Russia. Oh, not quite into Russia. He wrote a bit and acted as a war correspondent for a Chicago paper. The Balkan. He had played about with politics, at first for interest, and then he couldn't help himself. And then because he couldn't help himself. Then he made this discovery. He's driving now, back to France. What a creeper. He just went into that tree. Holy shit. And now out of the tree. Tippity toe in. Away behind all the governments and the armies, there was a big subterranean movement going on, engineered by some very dangerous people. Look at them dangerous peeps. And their king, ruler, the deer head on the wall. The sort of educated anarchists that... I didn't see that one, sorry. Look at his shifty eyes up there in that deer. And behind them were financiers who were playing for money. Ooh, you know he wants money because he's rubbing his hands together. They wanted Russia and Germany at loggerheads. Boom. Everything would be in the melting pot. The anarchists looked to see a new world emerge, while the capitalists would make fortunes by buying up wreckage. And Scudder had himself convinced that Jewish men were behind it all.
On the 15th day of June, Constantine Karolides is coming to this city. The British Foreign Office has taken to having international tea parties, and the biggest of them is due on that date. Now, Karolides is reckoned the principal guest, and if my friends have their way, he will never return to his admiring countrymen.
I set up for that, for I had been reading about Karolides that very afternoon.
Well, that's simple enough anyhow. You can warn him and keep him at home.
And play their game. If he does not come, they win, for he's the only man that can straighten out the tangle. And if his government are warned, he won't come, for he does not know how big the stakes will be on June the 15th.
I was beginning to get interested into the beggar.
What about the British government? They're not going to let their guests be murdered. Tip them the wink, and they'll take extra precautions.
No good. They might stuff your city with plainclothes detectives and double the police, and Constantine would still be a doomed man. He'll be murdered by an Austrian, and there'll be plenty of evidence to show the connivance of the big folk in Vienna and Berlin. It will all be an infernal lie, of course, but the case will look black enough to the world. But it's not going to come off if there's a certain man alive right here in London on the 15th day of June. And that man is going to be your servant, Franklin P. Scudder.
Ooh. Well, we vanished. I was getting to like the little chap. His jaw had shut like a rat trap, and there was the fire of battle in those eyes. Gimleti? I don't know that word, sorry. I'm dumb.
Where did you find out this story?
I completed my evidence 10 days ago in Paris. I can't tell you the details now, for it's something of a history. But when I was quite sure in my own mind, I judged it my business to disappear. And I reached this city by a mighty queer circuit. Till yesterday, I thought I had muddied my trail some, and was feeling pretty happy. Then...
The recollection seemed to upset him, and he gulped down some more
Then I
whiskey.
saw a man standing in the street outside this block. I used to stay close in my room all day, and only slip out after dark for an hour or two. I watched him for a bit from my window, and I thought I recognized him.
Who was it?
He came in and spoke to the porter. When I came back from my walk last night, I found a card in my letterbox.
Oh God, he knows where you live, man.
It bore the name of the man I want least to meet on God's earth.
I think that the look in my companion's eyes, the sheer naked scare of his face, completed my conviction of his honesty.
What did you do next?
I realized I was bottled as sure as a pickled herring, and that there was only one way out.
He killed himself.
I had to die.
He offed himself.
If my pursuers knew I was dead, they would go to sleep again.
How did you manage it?
How Scudder died. Step 1. Alright, after this I have to wrap up, but we'll find out how he died. And then I actually might continue to play this game, because it's actually pretty cool. I told the man who valets me that I was feeling pretty bad, and he got up and got myself up to look like death. That wasn't difficult, for I am no slouch at disguises. Oop. Then I got a corpse. You can always get a body in London if you know where to go for it. I fetched it back in the trunk on the top of a four-wheeler. I had to be assisted upstairs to my room. I had to pile up evidence for the inquest, so I went to bed and got my man to mix me a sleeping draught, and then I told him to clear out. He wanted to fetch me a doctor, but I swore some and said I couldn't buy leeches. When I was left alone, I started to fake up that corpse. He was my size, and I judged he had perished from too much alcohol, so I put some spirits about the place. The jaw was the weak point of the likeness, so I blew it away with a revolver. I dare say there will be somebody to swear having heard a shot, but there are no neighbors on my floor, and I guessed I could risk it. I left the body in bed, dressed up in my pajamas, with a revolver lying on the bedclothes and a considerable mess around. Then I got into a suit of clothes and I had kept waiting for emergencies. I didn't dare shave for fear of leaving tracks, and besides, I wasn't any kind of use my trying to get into the streets. Ugh. Gross.
I had had you in my mind all day,
Why me?
and there seemed nothing to do but to make an appeal to you. I watched from my window till I saw you come home, and then slipped down the stair to meet you.
Creep. He sat blinking like an owl, fluttering with nerves and desperately determined.
There, sir. I guess you know about as much as me of this business.
More drawing. What are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna pour ourselves a drink. I was now pretty well convinced that he was going straight with me. It was the wildest sort of narrative, but I had heard in my time many steep tales which had turned out to be the truth. And if he had wanted to get a location in my flat, and then cut my throat, he would have pitched a milder yarn.
Hand me your key, and I'll take a look at the corpse. Excuse my caution, but I'm bound to verify a bit if I can.
I reckon you'd ask for that. But I haven't got it. It's on my chain on the dressing table. I had to leave it behind, for I couldn't leave any clues to breed suspicions. The gentry who are after me are pretty bright-eyed citizens. You'll have to take me on trust for the night, and tomorrow you'll get the proof of the corpse business right enough.
I thought for an instant or two.
Right. I'll trust you for the night. I'll lock you into this room and keep the key. Just one word, Mr. Scudder. I believe you're straight. But if so be you are not, I should warn you that I'm a handy man with a gun.
I haven't the privilege of your name, sir, but let me tell you that you're a true gentleman. Now, I'll thank you to lend me a razor.
I took him into my bedroom and turned him loose. In half an hour's time, a figure came out that I scarcely recognized.
My hat, Mr. Scudder.
Alright, we're going to end it here because it's been a little bit too long. But very interesting game. I mean, stories unfolding here. We got this man who killed himself, but not really, but he wants to play dead. And he's probably going to be our partner along the rest of the story. Like I said, I might actually play some more of this, so maybe you'll see some more uploads coming soon about this game. But otherwise, for the next Steamisode, I'll have another game. And I think we're off numbers now, and we'll start at A. So, alright. Thanks for watching, and that was my second Steamisode. Have a good one.